It's not just about nostalgia, it's not just about the stories. I think that's important, but how do we move on from this to project into looking at our relationship with the spaces around us, to move in earlier to understand the dynamics and the currents that is happening.
In our project, we were looking at the past in terms of Bukit Ho Swee's Kampong fire and what happened last time to the people there and what happened to the place in the past. But we were always careful about not just talking about the past. On top of just doing research and asking about stories of what happened during the fire, even to the point of why was there a fire, we also actively sought out stories of people who are currently residing in Bukit Ho Swee. It is not as clear-cut as that, what is past and then what is present, but we see trickles of the past in the present.
What they think as everyday mundane stories became something of value. So it seems that having gone through the process, that value has been added onto them in terms of suddenly my story is important, my story is precious, it is unique, and it is something that is worth somebody listening.
For IgnorLAND of its time, we actually had several components. The main component would be the performance tour, which was actually a tour cum performance that led the audience from one station to another station, all within Bukit Ho Swee. And at each station, they get to see short performances that actually pieces up to a big story about Bukit Ho Swee.
Only see with your imagination. For me, I can only see with my memories. This is my memories. Okay, let's practice. Okay, take a look at this grass patch here. Yeah. Can you see anything here?
Sally is a retiree, so she's 62 years old. She's a tour guide for this trail. She was born there. You feel very close when someone that was there and then she bring you around. You sort of like trust her. For an actor, I think it's a very good opportunity to really be in the character throughout, breathe, hear whatever that you see at her level. Mr. Tay, you know how this old man that have a lot of wisdom, that can settle, the secret society and dealing with like hawkers that need to develop, and then also that how the government or the community can help. Mr. Yap, he's 75 years old. It's very inspiring. He's represent someone that always move on. He will always find a space for himself, regardless where he is. So as for Alison, the beauty of the traditional woman, the story is actually handed down by the father-in-law, but she actually make it happen, and also she is voted as a chairman at the Bio Crescent Hawker Center. So you see, Mr. Yap, Mr. Tay, Alison, these are our real people. They are our assets.
One thing that struck me the most about the audience responses to the performance tour. So this reporter, he came and then he was just writing about his feelings about the show. He felt like he was a stranger who was very welcomed by the people who were at home, meaning the residents of Bukit Ho Swee. There is another component which is the town hall sessions, which was held over 2 Saturdays. And on each session, we actually engage a distinct community in that area. For one of the sessions, we engaged the people who would have more memories of Bukit Ho Swee in the past or in the present. So the people who came were more elderly. And then in the second session, we engaged the younger residents of Bukit Ho Swee to get them to talk and dialogue about what they want the future of Bukit Ho Swee to be. And lastly, there is also a heritage trail that is led by James Seah, who is a former resident, and he was a survivor of the fire. So he brought people around Bukit Ho Swee, a more historical tour of the place.
I guess one of the things that went beyond my expectation was the community map that we did up. Initially, it was just a simple idea to see, bringing a huge interactive activity to the community to see how they respond to it. But as we brought it around the different events that were happening around the community, the question for me that how did they spend their day literally came to life.
There are a few ways of looking at our relationship with the community, and for me, for one, the people who are the closest to us actually were the people who have helped us a lot in our research process. People like James Seah, who was a former resident of Bukit Ho Swee, and he gave us a lot of valuable information, first-person accounts of what happened during the fire. Also, of course, the people who not only gave us information, but also agreed to have their stories shared during the performance.
I really was very touched that during the last session that we had with them, they were thanking us for being there, and then they talked about how they never thought that this little item, this little story in their life is of any value to anybody.
To me, I would say best moments that happened during the process was the amount of support that we got from the residents at Bukit Ho Swee. That was the most telling sign for me that this project that we are doing meant as much to them as it meant to us. And it was something that they thought was important to be done. And they wanted to be part of the efforts to make it happen.
I think so far what we have managed to do is to recap the history, look at the present, but we have not activated ourselves and the community to move on into the future together. I would imagine that if I were to do, say, a phase 2 or a subsequent phase with the community, that I would like to approach it from this perspective. I think there has been a relationship and a certain understanding and respect that has been built with the community. What we are now really thinking about is how do we continue this relationship that we have built with the people in that community, and how do we continue on